Guys, there are spoilers for this film and this review. So, if you don't want a bounty placed on your head, go out, watch film, then come back. You have been warned.
Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ronan Time HD. So yeah, this is going to be a great time.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ronan Time HD, and this week we watched Ballerina, a film in the John Wick, whatever, Ballerina. It is the newest installment in the John Wick franchise, and it is starring Ana de Armas. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. This film is an action movie, mainly an action movie, and I thought it was entertaining. It was a fun action movie. While I don't think it really held a candle to the original quadrilogy, I do think it was fairly entertaining. It was a fun movie, and I had a good time with it. But I'll tell you why I like this film and more back at the house.
Those people that you're looking for, they're surrounding this hotel right now.
Risen from the ashes, again and again.
You don't choose to be a killer. You are chosen.
No, I chose this!
Consequences.
Risen from the ashes, again and again. Again and again. Fire.
And what, may I ask, is your name?
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ronan Time HD, and this week we watched Ballerina from the world of John Wick, or just Ballerina, right? This film is the newest and fifth movie installment in the John Wick franchise. There was a show, but that's not a film. So this is the fifth film in the John Wick franchise. This film is starring Ana de Armas. I believe I said that properly. Also featuring appearances from Keanu Reeves, Ian McShane, Lance Reddick, Angelica Houston, Gabriel Byrne. I believe that's how you say his name. Sorry, his name is spelled weird with a Y, so excuse me if I didn't pronounce that correctly. But this movie's kind of a spin-off, right? Not even kind of, it is a spin-off. But this movie is not from the eyes, not literally, but not from the perspective of John Wick. This is from the perspective of the ballerina. Eve, I believe her name was. And obviously John Wick is in this movie, which is no spoiler because obviously he was in the trailer. But he is not the focus. It's more of just like a glorified cameo a little bit. You know, he's in the movie quite a bit near the final, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but he's not really in it that much. So yeah, mainly a cameo. But this film is about the introduction to the new character, the ballerina, right? And it's like obviously from the perspective of, you know, like the Ballerina Academy that created assassins from the original John Wick movies, which is pretty neato. I mean, it was kind of cool to get a more in-depth look at them, to see like what the training, I guess more of the training, I guess. And honestly, I do think, though, I do have some problems with this film. While it was not a bad movie by any means, I did enjoy it. I did have fun with it. I will say, though, the quadrilogy, I think, just was stronger than this one. Even the original John Wick, I feel like I would rather watch over this one. No disrespect to this movie. Again, I liked it. But I just feel like there are some things about it that kind of irked me a little bit. And I'll get into that. So, one of the things that kind of bothers me about this movie is, obviously, this being the introduction to the ballerina, the movie has to spend time developing her as a character to get to know her, to do that. And with the John Wick movies, obviously with John Wick 1, they had to do that. But with the other parts, you already knew him, right? So they could just jump right into it, right? And obviously, that's not, like, a problem with this movie. It's just a bit of a nitpick. Right? Like, obviously, this is the first film of hers. If they make a part 2, which the ending seemed like if it makes money, they will, I guarantee you that part 2 will most definitely be better than this one. Because I believe in the John Wick people, you know, I believe that they can really make a good sequel, and they really can. But I do think this movie felt kind of to the point where I don't want to say there was too much story, but I just feel like some of it just wasn't engaging. You know, I feel like there was this whole subplot with this little girl, who is like, who like belongs to this weird German cult, you know, and they're like, they want her to stay there because she's like the main cult leader's like granddaughter, and he wants her to carry on the legacy. And like Norman Reedus as her dad, but he's not even in the movie that much. Like you think he dies earlier in the movie, but he doesn't. They kind of leave it ambiguous if he died. But like I don't really care about the little girl. You know what I really care about is, you know, Eve getting her revenge. I mean, it's a John Wick movie. They're literally a movie. It's a movie franchise about revenge, right? It's a gun fu movie. Still a kung fu movie, kind of. All kung fu movies, no matter the subgenre, are revenge movies, right? I want the main focus to be on the revenge, right? And I feel like there were some things about that I feel like could have been fleshed out more. Like I kind of wanted to see more from the villain, right? A lot of the scenes are him just kind of brooding around and monologuing, and then he just gets gunned down in 2 seconds, which obviously he's an old man. What the fuck is he gonna do against a trained assassin, right? I get that he probably would just get gunned down pretty quick, right? Because, again, he's an old man. But I also feel like I liked how abrupt his death was. I feel like it was like kind of satisfying, you know, to see this guy who was like super full of himself, super arrogant, you know, thought he had everything planned out, get cut off mid-sentence and killed. Makes sense for his character, right? It's a good way to end his character. He was super arrogant. He didn't even think that she was going to do with it, seemingly, because he kept talking, right? But I feel like there's one character in the movie that I feel like they really could have fleshed out better, and that is, spoiler alert, Eve's sister, who earlier in the movie you just think is like a high-ranking member of the cult, right? But it's revealed later on that at the beginning of the movie, they show like the cult going after Eve and her dad, and they kill her dad to get to her, but we don't know exactly why they get to her. But then it's revealed that she was like a member of the cult, and as you know, in a cult, nobody leaves, so they wanted to bring her back. They wanted to bring her back. And obviously they told her sister that she was dead, and this and that. And obviously they revealed that she's her sister. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool dynamic that these two characters can have. I like that. And then they kill her immediately. And when I say immediately, I mean immediately after they reveal that they're sisters. I want to say it's like maybe 10, 15 minutes after it's revealed that she's her sister. And I think that is absolutely ridiculous, right? Like, what was even the point of revealing that she was her sister? Like her character seemed pointless because she didn't do anything. She seemed like she was going to be an important character in the first half, and then they just immediately kill her once she has an interesting connection to the main character, right? Like I just really think that they could have done more with her. Like maybe I feel like she was going to die regardless, but at least give her like something. You know, at least give her a death at the ending, like in the climax or something. Like there's this flamethrower guy at the end. Maybe have her like it's a 2v1. Like the sisters fight this guy, and then the other sister sacrifices herself so that Eve can defeat the guy or something. I don't know. Just do. I'm not a screenwriter, but just do something. It's an interesting dynamic, right? Maybe they can have a fight later in the movie where they don't want to fight each other, but like the evil cult leader's like ordering the sister to kill her, and they're like begrudgingly fighting each other or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it was wasted potential. I feel like her character could have been more fleshed out. And I think it was kind of abrupt when they killed her. Like, it really didn't make a lot of sense. But it may sound like I hate this movie. I do not. In fact, I think there's a lot of things about the movie that I like. I mean, I think mainly the fight scenes are really fun. Obviously, the John Wick stuff is... I mean, it's Keanu Reeves and John Wick. I mean, that's kind of a good mix, right? I mean, John Wick in anything is entertaining, right? So obviously all his scenes are great. I also really like how this movie just, like, drives in, like, the point of how... I want to say John is an honorable guy. You know, like, he doesn't like killing people, obviously. But he does it if he has to, you know? Like, there are several chances where he was sent to kill the ballerina, but he gives her the chance to finish it, you know, to kill the Chancellor. He gives her the chance to do it by midnight, you know? And I like that. You know, he didn't have to do that. He could have just killed her. but he felt her, like, grief and her lust for revenge. He felt it. He felt it because he's felt it before, right? So he knows where she's coming from. I like that. I like John in this movie. And, I mean, as I said, it was a cameo, but I do think his one fight scene was also fun, right? Because it's just him fucking up a bunch of people. It's always fun to watch John Wick fuck up a bunch of people, right? Just see all the inventive ways he is of, like, tripping up people and, like, do that fucking thing where he's, like, on somebody's body and he, like, shoots a bunch of people, like that little thing that he does, when he, like, kills somebody. You know what I mean? You've seen the movies. But I don't know. I'm just going off on John Wick now. But I liked our main character, our titular main character. I liked her. I thought that she was an engaging protagonist. I do think that she had an interesting dilemma. I did like her mirroring with the side plot, even though I did not really like the side plot. I liked the mirror with it. I believe that I liked Anna de Armas's. I liked her performance as the ballerina. And honestly, I just think that she was a good character. I think she's a good addition to the John Wick universe. But I do also believe that the best parts of this movie are obviously the action scenes. I mean, it's an action movie. You'd probably want the action scenes to be the best part. And I think there's some really inventive stuff here. I really like the fight in the gun store where she has no weapons, so she has to use only grenades to kill people. I think that's great. I loved how she would, she caught this guy, she, put a grenade in his mouth and closed a steel door on top of him, and he blew up, and, then the wall went through, and she could go into another room. It was a really inventive fight, and it was very interesting, It wasn't just the same, her shooting a bunch of people. There were different, dynamics and different weapons and, different people for her to fight. I did like that. I do obviously feel like, unlike the other John Wick movies, she didn't have much of a rogues gallery, but, I mean, again, in John Wick 1, he didn't have much of a rogues gallery either because he didn't have the bounty on his head like he did in Chapter 2, 3, and 4, right? So, makes sense, right? But then, I think my favorite fight in the movie has to be the flamethrower battle with flamethrower blonde guy and Anna de Armas. I really think that it was so ridiculous that it was just great. They literally were dueling with fucking flamethrowers. They got to a point where the fucking bad guy, special forces fighter, he set his leg on fire so he could get a flaming kick. So he could fucking hit her with a Street Fighter move. It was really funny. Because it's imagine if you're fighting someone and they set their own foot on fire so that they can kick you with fire. It's just ridiculous. And I loved how ridiculous it was. It was so stupid. And then I remember there was another part where they locked flamethrowers and they were spinning around and their flamethrowers were going off. That was fun. It felt like a Star Wars battle at that point. When they were locked up and they were spinning and their flamethrowers were going off, it just reminded me of Star Wars for some reason, because it's Star Wars fights are the prequels especially are really flashy like that. You know what I mean? They have really flashy, nonsensical bullshit. But I like flashy, nonsensical bullshit. I think it's fun, right? I don't have a problem with it. Honestly, I think it amplifies an action scene, because really, unless your movie is I don't even know. I feel like a lot of action scenes, in action movies like John Wick, I feel like some of them kind of have to get a little zany, because, I mean, you can't just have a normal fight scene, because I feel like every action movie's kind of done a normal fight scene at some point. Gotta make something stand out. And the flamethrower scene definitely stood out. I remember there was another time where she, flamethrowed a group of guys, and then there was this one random dude who was crawling away, and she just annihilated him for, no reason. She singled out this one guy that was crawling away. It just fucking scorched earth that motherfucker. She just fucking, the other guys were crawling too, but there was something special about this guy. I don't know what. Maybe he was balding, maybe she didn't like bald people. I don't know, but, she literally, flamed him 3 times. It was ridiculous. And then she looked at her fuel and was oh man, I'm out of fuel. It's yeah, no shit. You just spent 20 seconds flaming this dude. I don't know. It was just funny. But anyway, that being said, yes, I did have problems, but I also did enjoy the movie at the same time. And overall, I think as a total package, I do think that this film was a good movie and it was enjoyable. Now, let's get to recommendations. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of the John Wick franchise and Even if you're not, I don't think there's a well, I don't think there's a lot of spoilers for the other John Wick movies in this one. So I think you could probably watch this one without watching any of the other John Wick movies. I mean, yeah, there's references to the other ones, but even if you haven't seen them, they still make sense in the context of the story. They're not just like references here and there, you know, that you have to see the movie to understand them. You don't. Like, it makes sense. So I would recommend this movie for John Wick fans, action film fans, and maybe even an entry-level John Wick movie. Then you could get into the quadrilogy, because I do think they're releasing Chapter 5 in a couple of years. I don't know. I just heard that. I don't know. I just heard that. But anyway, with that being said, what would I rate this film? I think I'd give it like a 7. Yeah, I think a 7's a good rating, and yeah, I think it's something to say. I think it's something peace. So guys, hope you like this video, share, press subscribe, notifications on, comment down what you liked it, but you guys know how it goes. I didn't really mean to say that. What I really meant to say is that if you guys hated this video, unsubscribe, dislike, and turn your heat in the comments. And I've been Running Time HD, off to get revenge.
You know, in this movie, there was a scene where, like, John Wick was in the movie, obviously. That's not a spoiler, like you see it in the trailer. But there's a scene where, like, obviously he's having an action scene. He's fucking up all these grunts and stuff. And there's one point where they go, he's like, come on, this is suicide. That's John Wick. And then the one person goes, he's just one man, and then gets shot immediately. And I'm like, that's a callback to one of the other movies. I forgot which one, but it's a callback. I just thought it was fun, and I liked it. I don't know, whenever John Wick does something, it's just fun by default.